Hey y'all, and welcome back to Cajun Country Living. So this morning Jim is getting us started with some of our
good old smoked sausage. You can't go wrong with breakfast and smoked sausage.
especially some good old homemade sausage.
Oh yeah.
Never gets old. So this morning on our plan, we have a lot to do. Our agenda is pretty full today, so we're gonna try to knock out a lot of things.
We've been pushing and making some big efforts to try to get something very complete in this house. And we have the front bedroom almost complete. We were waiting on some doors. They're here.
So I'm gonna go ahead and unbox that while Jim's getting breakfast started so we can kind of see what we're dealing with. Apparently, I need to put it together because the box is rather small. I think someone took half the day off.
Look, someone took the day off and somebody worked overtime.
Good morning.
What's about time you got up, lazy bone? Looks like you brushed your hair with a pork chop this morning.
We knew that this door was gonna come in gray, but we didn't know that it was gonna be this style of gray. It says online that it's called a silver gray, so I thought that it would definitely be more like the floors are right here, but it was obviously not. Worst case is that we have to paint it, so not a big deal. Once we got our food down, we went ahead and started to assemble this door. So y'all can even see in this lighting that it looks a completely different shade than what I just showed y'all. So I'm so curious how it's gonna end up looking in the bedroom. And yes, this did come from Uncle Amazon. So for the hardware, for the door, for the handle, for the whole entire setup, it ended up being $300. Now don't get me wrong, that is very expensive, but everything is so expensive nowadays, and we knew that we probably couldn't have built this for $300. All the door frames in our house are 36 inches, so this door, even though it looks small here, is actually 36 by 84. This is obviously one of those sliding barn doors, so we were really happy to find this one that still looked industrial or country modern, as we like to say now, and it definitely still fits with the room theme. So in the way that this is gonna fall out, we are actually gonna run all the extra rail to the left because obviously there's a wall on the right side. So kind of how Jim has it right now is how we're gonna end up running this.
And like many other things we've done, this will be the first sliding isolation hoodus that we have ever installed. So there's a lot to take into consideration, like where these bump stops go to clear and the height from the ground, because you have to deduct the height from the center of this bar to the top of this bar to make sure that you don't get it too high or too low.
Okay, nothing there. One falls out here. Remember that time we said we were gonna get a new one of these? And one falls out just past this hole. So in total, we can put 2 in that are gonna go directly into studs, and the other ones we're just gonna go ahead and anchor in.
Man, that would have been nice if the holes would have lined up with the studs.
That would have never, ever been our luck.
The instructions recommended that we put it about 1 3/4 higher to make sure you have enough gap at the bottom, but we know how our luck is, so we went ahead and went 2 inches. That way we know for sure that we should have plenty of clearance on the bottom, and the door shouldn't drag the floor.
I need two puzzle.
So we used the holes in the bar, and on the first one we put it exactly where we wanted, and then the rest of them just fell out, and we went ahead and drilled them. That way we could use them as a template for our anchor bolts. We told you all that we really need to buy a new one of these, so we thought that we were gonna hit 2 studs, and we only ended up hitting 1. So we are gonna be putting 4 of these anchor bolts in. I'm gonna go ahead and hammer these suckers in, get them done, so we can go ahead and screw into these and hang this door up. If you don't have a stud where you want to hang something really heavy, all you got to use is one of these little plastic anchor bolts they send you. Hammer, please. Okay, a full-size hammer next time.
Hey, your roof is a stucco bathtub. I'm not trusting you with nothing bigger than that around that sheetrock. There's always so many steps when we do anything. You notice that? Yeah, let's just go over and throw up the door. We'll take but a minute.
Should we test it? Everything was honestly going pretty smooth up until this point, until we realized that we had put trim around this door face, which meant that the nuts on the back of this door actually hit the door frame. And the only solution that we could come up with was router our trim. So right now Jim is just setting the depth of how deep we want to router our trim, y'all, the trim.
Why do you smell like peanut butter?
Because I got hungry and got a snack, okay? Leave me alone.
It couldn't be that easy. We got to take the whole rail down now just to be able to run the router for the bolts, for the closet isolation hooters to be able to roll back and forth. I'm telling you, we always say, you know, one hand washes the other. It's like one hand's cutting the other one off here.
We were, no joke, about to take this rail down and start cutting whenever Jim had an epiphany. So why don't we just take one of these trim boards and put it behind the rail track, and we can screw it right into our studs and then just set that rail track right on top of it.
Then we'll end up with a screw in every stud like we wanted to begin with. I think it's a win-win.
And you won't be able to see any of those holes either.
Now that's another benefit.
Now we have the length of our board, but now we need to figure out on the board where exactly we need that rail to run. That rail is only about 2 inches and the board that we cut is 5.5 inches. That way we had plenty to nail to, but we still wanted it to line up pretty close to where those holes were originally. So we came in here and we went ahead and marked it. Once we knew on the board where we wanted the rail to sit, we went ahead and just cinched it down and used it as a template again for these holes. Okay, now back to where we started.
I think that was better than getting a router and filling this room full of sawdust and tearing up our trim.
I think so too, hopefully.
We're talking a big game, but we haven't put the door up there yet.
Okay, so now we need to put the track back up and I guess start from where we started earlier. At least we don't have to build the door again, that's a plus.
What take is this? Like take 3, take 4,
I
take
think
5?
it's take 4, solid 4.
Just hanging the door up all day long, y'all. All day long.
4 is not my lucky number, but it can be today. Alrighty, perfect. Even have a little bit of clearance left. Looks good. Okay, so now before I get a little excited and start opening and closing this a bunch, we're gonna go ahead and put the stops on the end. That way you can't run this thing off the track. I had a few more details that I've been waiting to put in here till we got this door up, that way it wasn't in the way. But now that we have this door in, I can start adding all these little decoration items. So here I got to add the last few little details into this room that I've been dying to put in.